because of using the resin. He said, "Oh, isn't that a petroleum-based product?" So I had to have this whole conversation with them that every artist in the products that they use is contributing to greenhouse gas. There's very few artists who do any kind of work that don't use some sort of poisonous materials. But ultimately, it's a balance between those materials and the message and the finished product. And I also try to explain to them that I use a lot of recycled materials in my pieces to kind of counterbalance it. That I'm hoping that the message about the river is what is the thing that shines through. I'm just really happy to participate in this. I thought this was a really, really excellent event. And to have people coming up to me and saying, "Oh, I really liked your window," or "Oh, this was a really," it seemed like more people were paying attention this year. And maybe the signage was a factor. It seemed very, very well put together.
The city of Beacon also picked it up, and in essence, I don't want to say sponsored us, but highlighted us on their City of Beacon website. It was the first thing you saw when you went there. It said Windows on Main Street and the dates and things of that nature. So we had a lot of support locally, even from the city itself. We just think that was great.
Well, it's always been a good idea, and I think that you re-energized it.
Well, just to speak to that quickly, is that looking at it before, when I first moved to Beacon, Windows on Main Street was up in its 4th year. My partner and I looked and said, "Geez, wow, how creative Beacon is with their windows. This is really amazing. It really is an arts town." We had no idea that this was a project. And me and Melissa had spoken about this early on, February or March. We were saying, you know, let's make this a focused project where people know that this is a project that happens yearly, that this is an actual thing that happens, an event. And that's how I think we got to creating a logo and branding it and making it so when somebody walked and saw a window, they see the tag in the window, they know that this was an event, versus where Chris Elber had the idea that you'd walk down and you wouldn't know for sure, is this art? Is this just somebody decorating their window creatively? Is this, and I liked that question, but I thought we had to move on from that question and really kind of highlight. We were mostly, I think, entirely local with the artists, which is another thing I really like. I like the idea of bringing in artists from the outside as an idea, but I think it's appreciated more and it has more value if we use local artists. There's so many international artists here already being shown, from the museum to the galleries and things of that nature, that the focus on local artists was important for us, and I think it had a big effect. And being noticed and being.
And the question is, wouldn't it be interesting to get every single window? Yeah. And how can we get that done so that next year there's no question about whether a window is in or out. Every single window is involved.
There are a lot of windows.
25 is a lot.
I mean, seriously, I think there must be like 150 or something, maybe more. It's crazy because I started from one end of Main Street and I started like going down to document all of them, and I got to Chase Bank and I was like, this is like too much work. It's way too much.
A lot.
But it would be awesome, and I think that the more that we do it and the more people participate, it becomes more and more visible and an exciting project, that more artists will want to do it. And also, you know, we've got some plans to get a little bit better organized next year, so we'll start a little bit earlier, we'll get people to come in earlier.
We'll have paperwork where you can actually sign up, like they do with each studio, open studios, where we'll actually have you on file. This way we can get directly in contact with you with phone numbers,
and we won't get your
communication issue would be, and we'll have your addresses right up front. So just coming into this, we just kind of took it and did what we could in this first year, but growth was one of our major things, and I think we grew.
That's funny because when I designed the site, I knew how it was going to look. I didn't set it all up on the computer. I was like, oh, that's going to be very clear that this is maybe, you know, marquees or whatever. But my friend said she drove by and she was like, It's interesting that some store would do that.
Yeah.
But it was the tagging, it was the signage of all of our names and everything. Because she walked by and she's like, okay, well, what is that? And then it became, so I think that was so really, really great.
We tried to not invade on the work with the tagging, but what I had noticed was we put them in the side windows, and a lot of the owners actually moved them to the front windows. They moved the tags. I guess they wanted them seen more, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that was very
We really saw that consistently going down. That was so
Yeah, Mixture was a little bit, they were, after the piece was up, and then they saw everybody else had their artist statement. What happened to yours? We were waiting for your artist statement.